get you your TV time in a second, sir.
I don't think you will.
All right. Hey, everybody. It's the Aftershow. Welcome to it.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Thank you very much for supporting our show at patreon.com/P1podcast. We really do appreciate your support in making this Aftershow possible. Now, we're going to do something a little different this time and see how it works. This could go well. It could go terribly. Who knows? We'll find out together. What we're going to do is we're going to make a little tier list of Nintendo consoles. Yes, that's right. A tier list of Nintendo consoles. So anything that is a main platform, we're not like separating DSi and all of that. But so we have, I believe, 13 Nintendo platforms along the bottom here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the Nintendo platforms here at the bottom. They are in no particular order. 3DS, DS, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, GameCube, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 64, Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch, Virtual Boy, Nintendo Wii, and Nintendo Wii U.
Wii U.
So I imagine we can go ahead and start maybe with the oldest Nintendo platform, where we might put that.
The Love Tester?
Exactly. Where would we put the Love Tester on this list?
Well, number one in my heart.
Number one. Yeah. Oh, where do you want to start? Where should we start?
How do we do these?
NES?
We can start with the NES. Sure.
Let's start with the NES.
Okay.
It's tier one. This is too easy.
It's tier one. Why do you think it's tier one? What?
Why?
Tier one? Tell me why.
What are our criteria?
I guess that's a good topic.
Maybe we should set these rules. Maybe we should have planned this.
Maybe we should have. Gosh, this works so well for other podcasts. Yeah. I wish I was paying attention to the parts where they set everything up.
Other podcasts may not have people who work at companies that are partially owned by Nintendo, so good luck getting me to say any of them are not.
Well, we're not saying these are bad. I don't think any of these consoles are bad.
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
good.
The internet won't misconstrue any of this.
No.
I mean, with the NES. I mean, relaunched the video game industry.
True.
Yeah.
Had an incredible library. Was the main reason I loved video games.
Yeah.
You know, we had an Atari 2600. I played that, and I had a cousin who had a ColecoVision. I played that, and I had another cousin who had an Intellivision, and I played that, and I enjoyed video games, but I didn't love video games. I didn't fall in love with video games until
the NES.
The NES. So
that's
why tier one for me.
Are we ranking these based on like historical significance, personal taste?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think from both perspectives, for me anyway.
Yeah,
it's a tier one.
I would agree with you, Greg.
Well, otherwise we're going to have everything in tier one. Tier one's going to be awful. Crap.
So I'll be honest. We're talking about Nintendo consoles. Most of it's going to be tier one.
Yeah,
I would say, but
yeah. Maybe. I mean, all of the things that you say are correct. Historical significance, absolutely.
Traditionally, all the things I say are correct.
Yeah. Brought us
Super Mario Brothers.
Wonderful games.
Wonderful games, yeah.
Brought us
some of the best third-party support.
Originated
in, like, Capcom and Konami. And
originated franchises that are still relevant today.
True, except for Mega Man.
Wow. This is just an excuse for you to be mean to Phil, I think.
I think that's what this is.
No, but
CJ does not agree.
I don't know that I would agree in putting it on tier one.
Where would you put it then?
I would put it in tier two.
Tough guy.
Okay, explain yourself. Convince us.
Because I think
you're
when
outvoted
you
right now.
look back on it now at the library, yes, there are some amazing games, but there's also a ton of garbage that does not hold up.
Isn't that the case for every system, though? For the most
I guess
part?
that is. I guess that is true. I
I
guess
mean-
that is true. You're right.
I mean, the Switch
CJ is so
has
easy to talk out of his opinion sometimes.
great stuff, but there's a lot of chaff.
I don't even count the chaff on the Switch.
Well, then why
Why?
you counted?
Why are you counting it on the NES?
It's mostly chaff on the
And why are you counting it on there?
Well, good,
What makes it
good
different?
question. Because I ignore the chaff on the Switch, whereas the NES days, you go to a rental store and you'd be presented with, this is your potential weekend. You're gonna rent Back to the Future by Acclaim.
No one's making you play Back to the Future by Acclaim.
Terrible game.
Well, of course it is.
Almost ruined the movie for me.
I can't imagine that's
Wow.
true.
No. It's not true at all. Okay, let's put the NES in tier 1.
All right. One for the good guys. So next is the
I mean,
Game
I don't
Boy.
know. That Lethal Weapon game's not very good. Maybe bump it down to 2.
Okay. Moving it down
No,
to 2.
I'm kidding.
Because of Lethal
boy.
Weapon. I mean, you said it. We
Yeah,
all
I was
heard it.
being-
You know, I
facetious.
watched Mad Max for the first time ever last night.
Oh, yeah?
The original one.
Yeah?
Oh.
It wasn't great. Just saying.
What are you prepping for Furiosa?
It's just one of those things where it's one of those classic movies that I haven't seen. So it's like,
Right.
hey, it's on this streaming service I happen to have an account for. Why
Yep.
not? I got some time to kill.
And Fury Road is just so damn
Fury Road's
good.
fantastic. I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
I never saw the previous movies either. Still haven't. All right. Game Boy next.
Don't bother.
Okay.
Game Boy?
Yeah.
Tier 1.
Tier 1. Is
And
this,
this is-
are we really doing
No,
this?
I'm not trying to be. I mean, it is funny. Don't get me wrong, but I'm
This
not.
is our resident Sega fan saying
I'm
this
being
too.
totally serious. I think you have to put it in tier 1 as well.
Why?
I mean, if we're going off partially historical significance again.
Yeah.
I mean,
It brought Tetris to
it brought
the mainstream.
Tetris to anyone who didn't have a PC. It made portable gaming a thing. And the library is fantastic. There's some really
That's
great.
true.
There's some garbage too. Don't get me wrong, but there's some really great stuff in that library, like all-time classics. So,
and the Game Boy was around for a long time.
and it had so much longevity.
It did.
And I mean,
it shouldn't have had that longevity.
sales wise, one of the most successful systems of all time.
Yeah.
I know we're not going to talk too heavily about this, but it's where Pokemon started.
Yeah.
Cultural phenomenon. I mean, there's no other way to describe that.
Yeah.
So
Very wise.
it's got to be tier 1.
But it's only black and white and gray and green.
And it overcame that.
It overcame that. I think you could say that about a lot of these consoles. It overcame not being the most technologically awesome.
Yeah,
A really good movie is Casablanca.
Yeah.
But it's only in black and white.
but I mean, it even overcame that. I'm not even saying like in hindsight, but it overcame that back in the day. I mean, when it came out, it was very underpowered.
Yes.
You know, and it was surrounded by other systems that were more powerful and were what we were supposed to want.
But were more expensive.
The Game Boy, right? So,
tier 1.
Yeah, all right. This is easy. Let's move on.
4 AA batteries right there
for like hours and hours and hours.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't put a game in the cartridge slot and turn that on to see the little blocks of the Nintendo. Yeah. Great. I miss startup video games. Like startup screens, by the way. Like I was disappointed with the current gen in terms of startup sounds. Or
it's funny. Games. Like we were talking last night at dinner. the GameCube came up, and we were talking about that GameCube startup animation.
Yeah.
Including,
So
isn't there a
good.
version, if you hold down, is it the shoulder buttons? You
There's
get
a
like the
secret
squeak
one.
and the baby.
There's multiple
Giggle?
secret ones.
Yeah, with like
Yeah,
the
there's
little
a few
baby
different
giggle.
ones. Yeah, but that's the one I remember. But no,
I think
sorry.
the baby giggle one, you had to have like 4 controllers plugged in or something,
Oh, really?
and
Yeah.
like hold buttons on multiple controllers. I forget exactly, but
But no, I was actually recording something for an upcoming Sega CD video today, and I was talking about how when I first turned on my Sega CD,
yeah,
that intro
oh,
sequence animation in the music,
so
I would
good.
just let that run sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get that anymore.
no,
No, you don't. No, you do not.
All right, what's our next tier 1 console? Super Nintendo? Done.
Super,
Move it
Super
up there.
Nintendo.
Super Nintendo.
Quite frankly, there should be a tier 1 plus.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is what you're saying we should do.
No.
There we go. This
Put
is
the
what I'm
NES and
hearing.
the Game Boy up there.
I'm hearing we need to put the Super Nintendo at the top and the NES and Game Boy at tier 2.
I will say,
what I'm
for
hearing.
my money, the Super Nintendo is my favorite Nintendo system of all time.
Really? Okay.
See, I'm not that way, but it's
Really?
still way up there. It's my
Yeah.
second
Yeah.
favorite
Okay.
behind
After the NES?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, if someone presented me with all of those systems and said which one, you can only have one of these for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
I guess I'd go with Switch, because
I'm
that
picking
has like all
Switch.
It
the
has all the other stuff on it.
I would pick Switch for
it
sure.
has all the, but just based
just
on
on
not
the
based on any
system
sort of like
library.
emulator,
Yeah.
that or classic game libraries built into it.
I think I would even put the 3DS above the NES.
What?
Okay, that's weird.
You're nuts.
The 3DS is awesome.
I'm not saying it's not.
but it's not the NES.
All right.
I would
Eh.
argue, if we're relegating something here, maybe the Game Boy.
Yeah.
That's a razor thin margin. No, stop it.
Oh my goodness.
CJ's
Is this
got
what you're
the
saying?
Game Boy down in 3 now. No, you didn't let me
CJ
finish.
is what you're
suggested
saying.
this
You didn't
to
let me
drive
finish.
wedges between us.
Yeah, I know. You didn't let me finish.
Okay. I'll
I
let
think
you
the
finish.
NES and the Super Nintendo both belong in tier 1. And the Game Boy belongs, if we have to, in tier 2. I think all 3 of them belong in tier 1, but that's just me. Because again, I think we're talking about the thinnest of margins. It's I said at the beginning of this episode, it's Nintendo consoles, and I'm sorry, but up until
They're all pretty good.
the N64,
Yeah.
they killed it with everything they released, and even after the N64,
They killed
came
it.
back, right? So
Yeah.
just sure, I guess we could leave it the way it is.
And leaving it the way it is Super Nintendo and NES are in tier 1. Game Boy is now tier 2.
But CJ couldn't tell us why it's tier 2.
You just said it'd be
No.
okay if I did that.
I said maybe, but
All right. Should we move on?
N64 next.
N64 next. Yeah.
I would say 3.
3.
Yeah.
I mean, N64, I like a lot of the games, but I don't have like an amazing nostalgia for all. And it's probably like a handful
Yeah.
of games where I'm like, I would go back and play those.
Yeah.
Today.
You're right about that. About the library. I wouldn't even say I like a lot of N64 games.
Yeah.
I like some. The few that I like are all-time classics.
Yes.
Like Mario 64, Ocarina of Time,
Yeah.
F-Zero X,
Yeah.
No.
GoldenEye. Like it's so funny to me that when you look at the cream of this system, it's like you look at the cream of the crop, and they're like all-time greats.
Yes.
But then there's this huge gulf.
Yeah.
And that's where the rest of the library sits.
Yeah. I mean, as have been doing review games from the late 90s EGMs, like the N64 games just, don't stack up, except for the Nintendo games. The Nintendo games are all...
Most of them are great.
Awesome.
And I mean, like very important games. You know, because that was when Nintendo was starting to put things in 3D, and nobody did it better than them at the start.
Nobody did it better. Yeah.
So, but it's a tough one to place, because then also you look at, like, it introduced analog control on a home console. It introduced Rumble.
Yeah.
In the controller on a home console. Like, it did so much. But yeah, when you look at it from a library standpoint, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that tier 4 is a bad spot. I'd say 3 or 4.
Because we're saying these are all good systems.
Yeah.
In their own right.
This is like talking about the worst Zelda game.
It really is. It is.
You take out like Wand of Gamelon and stuff like that, but
yeah.
I
think we should do that next. Zelda games.
Tier 4 makes sense, I guess. I'd leave that there.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
What's next?
Game Boy Color.
That's pretty high up, I think. Game Boy Color is what made me fall in love with portable gaming again, because I lapsed. Yeah, I mean, I had a Game Boy when it came out. Super excited about it. Played a ton of games, and even when I kind of just got away from it. Right, it didn't hold my interest. But that's not to say that the games weren't great. I just kind of chose to focus on playing Genesis and Super Nintendo games, basically.
Yeah.
And then, like, Game Boy Color came out, and I bought one. I don't even remember why. I mean, it might have been Mario DX and Tetris DX, and having nostalgia, especially for Tetris. And man, I love my Game Boy Color. It was such a great little piece of hardware.
It really is. I bought the Game Boy Color, imported it, because I wanted to play color Game Boy games so much. That was part of it. And I got Wario Land and Tetris DX, and they're fantastic games on the Color.
And I mean, for me too, the color, but also the backlighting and the screen, the quality of the screen, like, it was such a leap, because my experience was with the original
Game Boy. Was there backlighting on the Game Boy Color?
Oh, maybe there wasn't.
There was no backlighting on the Game Boy Color.
But either way, the color and the quality of the screen to me was a big deal, because the last time I had played a Game Boy, it was the original brick. Like, so I never had a Game Boy Pocket. I never had a Game Boy Light or whatever they were called. So,
well, the Light never came out in North America, right?
No one here had them, I guess. Yeah. But my point being the same, that I was such a lapsed. Yeah. So the other nice thing about grabbing the Color is that I had this huge library of Game Boy games that I had never played.
Yeah.
So, and backwards compatibility, I think it's the first one we're talking about that have backwards compatibility on this list. That's a big one.
No.
Yeah.
Backwards compatibility with one of the most successful systems libraries. So
completely. So where does that mean we put this?
I'd say it has to be a 2 or a strong 3.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm torn. We're talking about very fine increments here, because Game Boy Color.
Nintendo.
It's Nintendo. It's a really good platform. Has some really great games, but
I think if you look at solely at the Game Boy Color library, you could argue that it's not as high as the Game Boy. You know what I mean? If you take out the backwards compatibility.
Yeah. Well, and then I'm looking ahead towards Game Boy Advance, and it's where does that fall? Should we do that one now?
Actually, I think we skipped the Virtual Boy.
We skipped the Virtual Boy. Crap. All right, Virtual Boy.
Put it in 5.
Tier 5.
So I remember my big memory of the Virtual Boy is that I was working in retail at the time, and it was a rental / sales, video game rentals and sales. And we ordered 2. No, we ordered 3. One for rent, one for the single pre-order we had.
Yeah.
And one for sale. And the rental was pretty brisk at first, but it fell off fast. And we never bought all the games. The pre-order, that guy came in and bought it day 1, but I think he got rid of it pretty fast after that. And the other one, I think, just sat on the shelf. I think by the time I left that store, it was still sitting there.
Huh.
It was such a we had the rental we'd put up for demo. So I remember trying it like 3 times, and I was like, it's so uncomfortable to play. I can't do this.
Yeah, the first time I tried the Virtual Boy was at a Blockbuster. They had a kiosk because they rented the systems. That was a big thing, right? They had a promotion with Nintendo where you could rent that in Mario Tennis, and I thought it was neat, but it was an expensive system at the time too.
It's a lot of money to pay for a gimmick.
Yeah, and later I bought one when they were clearancing them.
I wish I
had that. I was glad that I didn't buy one at the time because I got motion sickness pretty bad from Red Alarm. Yeah.
But you're a big Waterworld fan?
No.
Who isn't?
Right?
No.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say I got my Virtual Boy from Blockbuster Video.
Nice.
When because they had in the US they had a deal where they had a deal with Nintendo where you could rent Virtual Boy systems along with the games, of course.
Yeah.
And not too long after that deal started, they began selling off the rental systems.
Yeah.
And yeah, my friend and I went in there and they had them on sale for like $20.
That's what I bought mine for.
As we were buying them, they explained to us that
you can't return these.
They were functionally new because no one ever rented them.
Yeah.
And they were selling the games for like $5 each. So I bought a bunch of the games as well. So
yeah, it was a surreal experience because of the fact that Nintendo was such a juggernaut.
Yeah.
It was you didn't expect something Nintendo released to not be a huge success.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it's not like the games are bad. Like the games themselves, I think are pretty good.
Some of them are good.
Some of them are good.
The Wario Land game.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's the game.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's that the black and red display just it was taxing on the eyes to even
as
play.
Was the position of the system.
Yeah. Yeah. And the position of the system too. I mean, it was sort of marketed as a portable, right? I mean, that's why they called it the Virtual Boy.
Did.
And it didn't really work out that way, like at all.
No.
But yeah.
But I do remember, I think for a few months, letters in Nintendo Power of people who had like fashioned different ways to wear the thing.
Yeah. Well, it didn't move. It didn't have any head tracking or anything.
No.
It was like a viewfinder.
But it's just so you didn't have to hunch over on the table and.
Yeah. Well, that's true too. Yeah.
I did a lot of
or just thinking about it.
I did a lot of lying on my back.
Yeah, that was the big thing.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Balancing on your face.
Yeah, using the tripod,
the stand.
Yeah, because it's not really a tripod. It's just because there's just 2 legs. But I would
make it a tripod.
I'd have it sitting on my face, and then the stand would be kind of like braced against my chest.
Your nipples.
Yes.
You just aim both feet at your nipples.
Yep.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
There you go.
All right. So we'd skip the Virtual Boy. So that's done.
We're back to it.
Yeah. So that's good. What came next? Was it Game Boy Advance or GameCube?
Game Boy Advance.
Was it?
I believe so. Yeah.
I would say...
Of course, the launch game being Mario 2 makes this a tier 1. No, I'm kidding.
See, it's weird. It's hard with the Game Boy Advance because it had a good library.
Yeah.
But it also started like the trend because like the DS and the 3DS went through the same thing where after I got over the fact that it was a new, more powerful, basically Game Boy, like it was basically a Super Nintendo, portable Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
The original Game Boy Advance I wasn't crazy about. Because the dark screen.
Well, yeah, once again, they didn't have a backlight.
Right. I wasn't super crazy about the form factor of it. It was okay. But then you get into the game, then the Game Boy Advance SP came out and fixed everything. And it was awesome.
Yeah. So, and the micro.
And well, the micro. And of course, again, backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another big thing.
So I don't know. It's tough to place it. I would say, personally, probably around the Game Boy Color.
That's maybe where I'm thinking too.
But it was a leap too. So
yeah, right about there.
Yeah, I think so.
Tier 3 with the Game Boy Color.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're in the GameCube.
GameCube. This one is kind of like the N64 to me, where it's like Nintendo's own games, fantastic. Third party is sort of a wash because those showed up on other platforms. And
they were usually better on other platforms.
Usually better, yeah. Whereas I like so many of the Nintendo-made games, like Wind Waker is an all-timer, right?
It is.
Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion, one of my absolute favorites.
Thousand Year Door.
Thousand Year Door, again, yeah. Awesome game.
And you also like Wave Race Blue Storm for some reason.
I love Wave Race Blue Storm. It's a fantastic game.
Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers.
Melee? Was that the GameCube one?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I really love the form factor of this system too. Like I think it's a nice looking game system.
I liked it too. Actually, that was as silly as it almost sounds to say now. I loved that they kept, actually going back to the N64, also four controller ports.
Yeah.
That was another thing that the N64 did. I was happy that Nintendo had gone to optical media.
Definitely.
They hurt themselves with those tiny little discs, I think. And the Resident Evil remake was on this.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 was this.
This was the Capcom 5 system, right?
Yes. So,
Beautiful show.
It was also, I kind of loved how Nintendo leaned into the idea that it still looked like a toy, where Sony, and I think the PlayStation 2 looked great, but they definitely went with the it's a serious component for your TV entertainment center. And then Microsoft just went with that gigantic black box.
Yeah.
And then you have this cute little GameCube and the fun colors. With the handle on the back. It worked.
Yeah. Then you had the broadband adapter as well. I played a lot of Phantasy Star Online on this thing.
Yep. Sonic Adventure came to this too, and
yeah.
This was the system where Sega and Nintendo started to partner up. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think we're making an argument to go with tier 2.
Tier 2?
I think so.
Okay.
I can just say whatever I want.
What do you put it there? What do you think, Phil? GameCube
I think
memories?
old Nintendo systems are fantastic. I do not have anything.
Nothing bad to say, of course.
Why would I?
No, but the GameCube is a fantastic system. I love the GameCube. I had a black GameCube and Game Boy Player. Game Boy Player was very
and the connectivity with the Game Boy Advance. There was some cool stuff going on with that too.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I said, Metroid Prime was on there, the first Metroid Prime, and that was the first Metroid game we'd gotten since '94.
Yeah.
There's a lot to love, man.
It's true. All right. DS. Next.
I hated the DS when I first got it.
The OG DS. Yeah.
Oh my God.
The DS started rough.
Started very
really rough.
Yes. It ended very strong, I think.
It was very poorly designed.
The OG hardware is the DS Fat is not great.
Ugly. And they definitely, the gimmick overtook the gameplay a lot in those early games.
It did, yeah.
But then it turned
into the microphone.
Yeah. But then it turned into a great system.
It did over iteration.
Yep.
And the 3DS being the final form.
Yeah.
of
even
dual
the
screen
3DS had to overcome a terrible start.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. But
that was more on price. Maybe.
Yeah. The ice cream sandwich.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But I don't know, man. DS, you know, in the first year, I would say like tier 4, but then like ultimately I would say up in like tier 2 state. I mean, wasn't the DS what brought back like Dragon Quest as well?
Yeah.
That's where we were getting our Dragon Quest games. And I don't know, man, there's a lot of great stuff on the DS. Became a
good
strong
point.
system.
You make a good point. And PictoChat, I mean, come on.
Yeah. It just yeah, I mean it revitalized portable gaming, I would say, and especially after such a terrible start.
Yeah. I remember playing it at E3, and they had like a private room where they had different games, but they weren't really calling them games for most of them. It was like, this is our DS experiment.
Well, you remember that they called it the third pillar? Third pillar. They weren't even confident enough in it to say this is the replacement or the successor to the Game Boy Advance. It's another pillar. So that we've got the Game Boy Advance, we've got the GameCube, and we've got the DS. But then they kind of just finally went with it when it started to take off. Man, it was a rough start.
It was. It was.
I remember I was moving from North Carolina back home, and I was still on Nintendo's mailing list. So they actually sent me a DS just before we went on that road trip. And I played a bunch of it on that road trip. And by about the second day, I was like, I hate this thing. Like, it's just not good at all.
DS certainly became a great system with the iteration of DSi. DSiWare was great.
Yeah.
It brought a lot of interesting software to that. So I'm good with that being in tier 2. Right now, here's where we stand. Tier 1 is Super Nintendo and NES. Tier 2 is Game Boy, GameCube, and DS. Tier 3 is Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. Tier 4 is Nintendo 64. And Tier 5 is Virtual Boy. And now we move on to the Wii.
Wii!
I would say, so the Wii, certainly motion controls being a thing in terms of pop culture significance, the Wii is probably up there. Mm-hmm. But in terms of software library and whether I want to go back to any games that were on Wii, it's pretty low.
Mm-hmm. I agree. 100%.
Even less maybe than the N64.
I don't know if I would go that far.
Yeah.
But I would say for me, it's like either a 3 or a 4. It just never. I know that it was significant, and I know that a lot of people
though.
Well, I know
it was very
systems high because of cultural significance.
Then we put the Game Boy in tier 2, so it doesn't matter.
True. Let's put it in 4 for now.
CJ's brutal.
Ruthless. And then maybe we'll rearrange some things as we get to the end here.
We'll let Phil rearrange things at the very end. Just be one long line at the top.
Everything tier 1. Yes.
The best.
Yes. 3DS.
I think it's like a mirror image of the DS story.
It is, yeah. Did not launch well. And I think in part iteration and that price drop is what made the 3DS great. And also some amazing software.
Yeah.
You know, starting with the remake of Majora's Mask, but then going into Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon and the Zelda Link Between Worlds game. And God, so many games on 3DS are just super, super fun.
Yep.
Virtual Console stuff on 3DS was nice, a nice addition. The system itself is just a pleasure to play and use in a way that I think Nintendo may have lost with the Switch. Like when you download new software, the icon is a present that you then like click on and open, and it was just kind of a joy to use in that way, right? And you could do themes and get bling for your 3DS in the amazing, what was that called? Badge Arcade?
I never ever used that. You guys did.
Badge Arcade. I was a big Badge Arcade
Badge
fan.
Arcade was fun.
Yeah. Rusty's Real Deal Baseball.
What a great game.
What a great game and idea for a game. The whole haggling with Rusty to buy different mini games. So super fun. I might put it in tier 1.
I would say tier 2.
Why is that?
Mostly because I don't think it breathes the same rarefied air as the NES and the Super Nintendo, but that's just me. But I agree with everything you said. Like, and on top of that, I to this day, I really miss 3D gaming.
Yeah. Well, they got it right later on when they
so much
adjusted it to, you know, they made it better in later iterations.
That's what I'm saying. But just in general, I really miss it. Just like, I mean, I was the same way with the PlayStation 3. I bought a 3D television so that I could, I mean, I was into 3D movies. And so that when I could play 3D games on my PlayStation 3, I wanted a 3D television.
Yeah.
And I played through like Uncharted and MotorStorm and Eco and all that stuff in 3D.
In 3D.
Yeah.
How was Eco in 3D?
Good, if I remember correctly. I wasn't disappointed in it. Was it Eco? I think it was Eco. Yeah. Eco and Shadow of the Colossus, the re-release, were in 3D.
On PlayStation 3?
Yeah.
You think they're ever going to remake Eco again?
I don't know. Stay focused, CJ.
They did Shadow of the Colossus. All right. 3DS we're putting in 2.
All right.
2. All right, we're on to Wii U. Now, here's the thing about Wii U.
The beginning of some of the best Switch games?
It's the beginning of some of the very best Switch releases. Games like Mario Kart 8, for instance, that started life on the Wii U and ended up being like all-time bestsellers.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody bought them on the Wii U because the system just did not have what people wanted at the time. I think personally, I look at things like the second screen and off TV play and that stuff, and I feel like, man, I loved the Wii U. To me, it's like tier 2 based on some of that stuff where the games were awesome. This is the start of Splatoon. We had Wind Waker HD, we had Mario Kart 8, and we had Super Mario 3D World, which was an awesome game.
It's true.
A lot of really great games, but they're just it
Virtual
was few
Console
and
was still awesome.
Yeah, few and far between, really, on the Wii U. They didn't have a great follow-up. And when that system launched, maybe similarly to the DS and 3DS, the system software itself was awful. It was slow to use. It wasn't great. It wasn't a great experience. And
yeah, I feel about the Wii U, I feel very similarly to the N64 and the Wii in that, well, maybe not quite the N64, because I'm not necessarily saying that the best of the Wii U are like all-time greats, although Mario Kart 8 I would put there.
Yes.
But I'm sitting here racking my brain as to why I would like what games would I want to go back and play on that thing? Like what would compel me to hook it up and play it again?
To me, none, because
Nothing.
all the great games are already on Switch.
Well, even if it wasn't, right? Even if that wasn't the case, Mario Kart 8.
Mario Kart 8 and Splatoon for me.
Yeah.
Wind Waker HD.
Sonic All-Stars Racing Transform, but that was on other consoles too.
Super Mario Brothers U.
See, we're actually creating a big list now, CJ.
So we are. So were we saying we put that at tier 4?
I would.
I agree with that. All right, we come to the end of our journey here with Nintendo Switch.
I think it has to be in tier 1.
I do too.
The Switch is great.
The Switch is great.
It's a fantastic system. It
shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. It's using outdated tech even at the time that it was launched, right? And the thing that overcomes that is the concept of the hybrid system that can be played on the TV or portably, and even disconnecting Joy-Cons to play multiplayer. While I've never really done that, it's cool in a pinch to have that functionality.
Nintendo successfully made a great portable game system that is at the same time a great like home console.
Yeah.
Like and even when they first described what it was going to be on paper, it just seemed like it shouldn't have worked.
No.
As well as it did. But it does.
And part of this, I think, is that strength of that software lineup, especially the first year of Nintendo Switch was just out of this world, right? Because you had Splatoon 2 and you had Mario Odyssey and you had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and you had ARMS and all of these games. Like they really launched a lot of software in that first year. You had Xenoblade Chronicles 2 also hit first year, and maybe they're going to duplicate that. Maybe that's why the Switch launch list at the moment for the rest of the year seems so light, is that they're prepping for Switch 2, and hopefully the first year of Switch 2 will be as impressive as Switch 1 was. I hope that's the case.
Was Breath of the Wild first year?
Breath of the Wild was first day.
First day. Oh, there you go. I can't believe you skipped over it when you were talking about the first year.
I can't believe that I skipped over that. Yeah, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, so I mean, it has to be tier 1.
It has to be, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so right now we have tier 1 is Super Nintendo, NES, and Switch. Tier 2 is Game Boy, GameCube, DS, and 3DS. Tier 3 is Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. Tier 4 is N64, Wii, and Wii U. And Tier 5 is the Virtual Boy.
I agree with that. I know Phil agrees with it.
I know Phil agrees with it,
I have no comment.
And I think some of the distance between tier 1 and tier 2 is so thin, right?
Well, and 3 as well, I would say. I mean,
yeah,
like I said, I don't know, ranking Nintendo systems is like ranking Zelda games, is like ranking Mario games. Like, just because something's the 4th best, in your opinion, it's still like an all-time great.
Yeah.
It's just, it's impossible to really.
It's not like ranking the Sonic the Hedgehog games.
No. I really wish it was. I would love to sit here and say it is, but nope.
Yeah. And to me, this is why, even during this time of uncertainty in the video game industry, where it seems that consoles might actually be a one console future.
Xbox?
PlayStation with PC, or I guess Switch is always going to be there because Nintendo is just going to do their own thing, and you know it's going to be quality, and you're going to go with it. Like even the systems towards the bottom of the list, like tier 4 and 5, like
There's
I had
really only one bad system in this whole list,
and I don't even know that I would say it was bad. It was poorly conceived, but but I think its software was still good. And even though the Wii U was hated by a lot of people, I think its software library is still pretty good if you don't count Switch ports. I mean, if you look at the Wii U library as these games and not talking,
it was
about
like conceptually a swing for the fences, and it just didn't.
Yeah, it didn't work.
But I respect that. I mean, I liked it for what
I
it was.
liked it too. It was an idea of bringing dual screen gaming to the home, and it just didn't work as well as the DS and 3DS did.
Yeah.
And maybe Switch 2 will, I don't know.
I doubt it'll have an extra screen.
It won't have an extra screen. No. But I think there is still something with the idea of a dual screen system at some point. Like, yeah, I think we'll see it from folks like that make retro handhelds like the Ambernic or the Ioneos.
Think Analog will bring something out.
You'll see a dual screen, and people will enjoy it again.
All right.
I think this is our list. I think
this was fun.
The final list, and yeah, this was fun for sure. I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank you for supporting the show, and we're going to pick a different topic for next week. I think, Greg, you get to pick the topic.
Yep.
You get to pick the topic.
Yep.
I don't know what the topic's going to be. Do you want to tease that? Do you know what we're talking about next week?
I'm not going to tease it at all, but it's all about me. That's what I'll
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You definitely want to come back.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. I hope your family, friends, loved ones are all safe and well. I hope you are safe and well as well. And we'll talk at you again next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.